Good to see you, Nate. Hello, sellers. Just checking if everybody can hear me. Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for joining our holiday check-in. Really appreciate it, particularly during this busy season. Know that there's a lot going on. There's a lot of prep happening, in particular as there's really weeks of hurry and hustle coming up for you. Thank you so much for making the time and the opportunity. For most of you, I think I've talked in these sessions a couple of times before, but if you don't know me, my name is Chad Stewart. I run the international shipping business from the US for eBay. Nate will come on in a moment and introduce himself. In the spirit of some of my colleagues that have already spoken to you today, I have been with eBay for 10 years. And focused in particular on the international shipping space for about 5 now. My team used to run the global shipping program and now also runs eBay International Shipping, and then we run eBay International Standard Delivery. What I wanted to go through today was some of the exciting enhancements that we've recently deployed within eBay International Shipping, give you an idea of what's happening in that space, how we continue to grow it, try to make it a better program for you. And for those that may not be familiar with the program, also give you an idea of what the program itself is, knowing that many people are already familiar with it. I won't spend too much time on that. What I also want to do is give Nate plenty of time to be able to share the exciting rollouts that we've had within eBay Standard Envelope. So Nate, if you want to go to the next slide for me, please. Just as some background on eBay International Shipping. We have him back. So Nate's no longer frozen. So on eBay International, just quick background. At this point, we've been live for about a year. I'm hoping most sellers know what eBay International Shipping is, has had an opportunity to give it a try. We think, or and are confident, that it is the best way to sell internationally around the world. And makes it as simple as possible for you to be able to sell to buyers in Australia, Germany, or Africa, as it is to sell to someone that lives down the street from you. So eBay International Shipping is eBay International Shipping makes it so simple that it's really just like you having to sell an item and then having to get it to our domestic hub. Upsides of eBay International Shipping really are that you don't have to deal with customs. We manage the pricing for you, no returns, heightened protections, such that anytime there is a problem, we take care of it. You have no concerns, you have no challenges. Now, obviously, we've been live for a year. We've heard of lots of challenges. We've tried to massively improve the experience, take it to the next level. One thing I want to highlight, and was mentioned in our most recent earnings call last month, was as part of the program rollout, we also survey sellers to understand what their experience is. We've done this historically for the global shipping program. In global shipping program, we had really good reviews. Sellers love the program. I'm happy to report that with the experiences as we survey sellers for eBay International Shipping, those scores come back as 2 times higher than what we had previously seen within global shipping programs. So sellers are seeing positive experiences, having a significant improvement. Now, that doesn't mean it's perfect. It means that we have lots of opportunity to grow and make it better. Couple of things I want to call out. So we announced as part of our seller update back in September, and we also have announced in a couple of other forms. So Nate, if you can go to the next slide for me, please. The 2 biggest concerns that we've heard from sellers is, number 1, you cannot combine items. And so I've seen that actually in the chat a couple of times as well. Hey, I can't combine items. My buyers see significantly higher ship costs when I sell items through eBay International Shipping. I'm excited to announce for the past several weeks, we've actually been rolling out the ability to combine items for US sellers. Basically, what that means is unfortunately, it's not live for everybody at this point. It is live we're rolling out to specific sellers, particularly those that have had orders placed by the same buyers on the same day within the program or have a high propensity for that, as well as to certain types of items that are easier to combine and safer from our perspective. So, for example, because we sell internationally, there's also some challenges with trying to combine lithium-ion batteries into the same package or items that may be considered dangerous goods. We ship all of those, but when you ship them together, it creates some additional challenges. We're not quite to the point where we're ready to release that capability, so we're gradually rolling out to new categories. We can provide more information on our web pages for you, but at this point, we are live with combined shipping. We believe this will significantly reduce the shipping costs for your buyers and increase the conversion for you as a seller. With the results we've seen to date, we've seen material improvement in overall order volume over the last 3 to 4 weeks, and we're going to continue to accelerate this rollout as we look through the remainder of the seasonal period. And in particular, for at least the international space, our season actually extends until January. And so we're really focused on getting it live getting it scaled to all of our business sellers by the end of the month or into early December, and then making it live and extend to everyone into January. So we're really excited about this. We think it creates a significant opportunity for you to grow your sales. It addresses directly what one of the most severe pain points or one of the most common complaints I hear from sellers is, and as a result, we think that we're confident that we're making it easier for your buyers around the world to, number one, find your items, and buy them with reduced shipping costs, knowing that international shipping is expensive anyway. The other enhancement that we're really excited about is in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're also going to be rolling out what we're calling buyer choice, which means that, so you may know that as part of eBay International Shipping, we offer options to the buyer. That means they can either pay the duties and taxes that would be applicable on a specific transaction, either up front or we defer them. Today, we control when that happens, and we try to optimize that relative to what we see in the market, when duties and taxes are applied by the customs authorities, as well as just trying to optimize buying behavior for you. But in the future, what we're also going to do is, while we'll continue to optimize that on what the recommendation is to the buyer at checkout will be able to select what they want. And so they'll be able to optimize for themselves to be able to say, okay, I want to pay duties and taxes now, or I want to pay it later, and they can optimize for their lowest cost available and then choose how they get it. Similar to that, in the event that you offer an international shipping option and your account is enrolled in eBay International Shipping, going forward, your buyers will be able to see eBay International Shipping and your self-ship international option side by side in checkout and choose which one they want to do. So if you're offering today USPS International and your account's enrolled in eBay International Shipping, starting in December, we'll start to roll out the feature where the buyer will be able to pick what they want. We'll show the buyer what is the lowest shipping cost item, try to get them to go from search into your item, see it, and then try to convert as much as possible for you. But the goal here is to make it such that the buyer gets the experience that allows them they get to pick their experience in order to optimize their checkout flow or to optimize their conversion. Both of these options will be rolled out by the end of the year, and we think will really take eBay International Shipping to the next level in terms of getting buyers lower shipping costs, making it as simple as possible, letting them choose the way they want it, and then as a result, you'll be able to reap the benefits of just more sales, less hassle, making this experience overall simpler and taking it to the next level. We're going to save some time at the end for Q&A, but I definitely want to leave some time for my friend Nate. And so I'm going to turn over to him. We're going to go over ESE, or eBay Standard Envelope, I should say, and then we'll come back for your questions.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we got you, Nate.
Great, thank you. So really excited to talk to you today about eBay Standard Envelope. Many of you may have heard we expanded the categories that are supported with eBay Standard Envelope. Historically, we were supporting trading cards, coins and currency, stamps, and postcards, and we've just enabled stickers, decals, patches, seeds, and greeting cards. These were the top requested categories that we heard from you, the sellers, asking to enable on this service. And eBay Standard Envelope remains to be one of the best ways to ship really lightweight, so no more than 3-ounce items that fit in a letter-sized envelope. So the same type of envelopes that you get your invoices or correspondence in. And we've got a really great price that includes tracking and protections. eBay Standard Envelope supports items that have sold up to $20 and also combined orders up to $50. And we're really excited about expanding this. This is the first of our planned multiple expansions. So keep sharing your requests of additional categories that you think make sense for eBay Standard Envelope. And we're looking forward to continuing to expand the offering here. We initially launched eBay Standard Envelope back in 2021, and we introduced some supplies back then, the cardboard mailers. We've recently done more research along with the post office and sellers like yourselves on understanding how strict are the rules. And I think this varies across the country at different locations of the post office. You hear different feedback from sellers. Some have no issues with shipping with a cardboard mailer, and others do. And their post office is giving them feedback that this is too rigid or too stiff to use for eBay Standard Envelope. And that's led us to introduce some new supplies as well. So I'll flip over. Oops. Not too far. We've got a new mailer that we've designed specifically for eBay Standard Envelope. This is a number 10 envelope, but it has 3 slots inside. Those 3 slots work really well for trading cards, which is our highest used category of eBay Standard Envelope. But you could also find other inventory that would fit inside these slots. We've got great feedback from sellers and great feedback from the Postal Service that this supports the mailability, the rigidity requirements, the flexibility that's needed for eBay Standard Envelope and the post office. And there's a paper insert that also provides some additional protection. For trading card sellers, this is something where this new mailer doesn't require any top loaders to be used, which is one way that we understood sellers were protecting their items that are mailed in eBay Standard Envelope. And we're really excited to announce that to you guys today. I'm going to pop some of the links that I've shared here in this deck into the chat, so they're clickable for everyone. And at this time, I think we can open it up to Q&A. So if you've got questions, please put your questions into the Q&A chat, and we will try to address them going down the list. Chad, I think, why don't we start with some of the EIS questions that you're seeing?
Yeah, I got a few questions. My team said were pretty common in the question and answer box. So one was, how will the combined shipping flow work, and will sellers have to provide the dimensions? So so just for context for everybody, one of the ways for the combined shipping flows today is when a buyer goes into checkout, they basically send an invoice to you as the seller. You provide dimensions, and that ends up determining what the price is that's charged to the buyer. For the checkout flow that we built as part of this particular process, essentially what we do is we take the dimensions and the size of the package that you've provided on your listing. In the instance that you've not provided dimensions, on a previous session I mentioned, we do some prediction to be able to identify what's happening there and determine what the size of that package is. And we use historical data relative to what's been shipped through the program before other programs. So for this instance, for combined shipping, what's happening is we won't have the buyer send an invoice request to you. You put in new dimensions and then send it back to us, and that will determine pricing. Instead, what we're actually doing is we've simplified that flow where we are taking the dimensions that either have been provided by you or predicted, and then we're doing some algorithms to adjust that to reduce the shipping cost and determine what the final size of that package is and how it will be charged to the buyer. We are working on an enhancement where if you prefer to use the send invoice to seller flow, that will be available, but that likely won't be available until the first part of next year. We wanted to get this feature out as quickly as possible, and this was the fastest path to doing it with the best buyer experience. And so we've gone with this particular approach for now. Would be interested to get feedback in general. So if anyone does use the flow or has any feedback, feel free to reach out to either myself or my team. We'll put our email in the chat window so that you can reach out and provide some feedback. But high level, what we're seeing already is shipping cost overall is materially down for buyers, and as a result, conversion has been able to grow. We're seeing pretty significant transaction growth for the sellers that are in so far. And like I said, that seller list will grow here in the next couple of days, even where we'll ramp to all business sellers. Really quick, Nate, one other question was what categories are in or what categories are restricted. So it really depends. Part of the reasons that we're restricting are really around what items end up being prohibited and more challenging to ship, or what items end up being dangerous goods. We can work on providing that information on the Seller Center page for eBay International Shipping, and then you'll be able to get that information there. High level, where we're really trying to lean into is fashion and any of the other categories that have really high rates for combined shipping. The more challenging ones that we're still working on are in the motors area and in parts and accessories, because they tend to be really big. Some of them tend to be bigger, or some of them tend to have dangerous goods, so we have to do special handling for.
Awesome. I've also been seeing some questions on eBay standard envelope around, can we refresh? Can we do a refresher on the size and shape and weight? So eBay standard envelope is supported up to 3 ounces. You pay for that service by 1 ounce, 2 ounce, and 3 ounce. And so, like, as a refresher, a 1.1 ounce envelope would be a 2 ounce that is required, and like a 2.1 or 2.2 ounce envelope would be a 3 ounce purchase. On our site about eBay standard envelope, which I pinged in the chat here, the very first section is about packing your items and things to consider, and we've got a great resource for you there. Highest level, no smaller than 3.5 inches by 5 inches, no larger than 6 inches by 11.5 inches, no heavier than 3 ounces, no plastic, strings, or closures. You need to put the recipient address, so the way that you label your envelope is important. The recipient address should be parallel to the longest side. No thickness that's greater than 1/4 inch, and it needs to be uniform across the entirety of the envelope. And there should be a flexibility, a rigidity test. So, like, a good rule of thumb, if you hang half of your envelope off the edge of a table, you want to see that droop down, not stay on the same plane as the thing. And then we've created a visual aid there as well. I'll put a link to that in the chat too now. And I think that's just like a handy 1-pager that you could print out at your workstation to be a friendly reminder of the size and shape that's supported by eBay standard envelope. At the end of the day, I think one of the other things that I encourage, if there's questions, you feel like maybe you're on the line, a really great resource. At the end of the day, eBay standard envelope is powered by post office services. And so checking with your local post office, the service that's behind eBay standard envelope is first class mail. you might think of that as how you send like birthday cards or letters to your friends or family. And eBay standard envelope is using the same service as the traditional lick and stick stamp. And so you can check with your postal office. You can take your eBay standard envelopes in and get their guidance. Hey, is this meeting the requirements of your first class mail service? And they'll give you great feedback about, yeah, this works fine, or no, this is the thing that's making it tip to something else. So a great resource that's local to you as well, that you could consider. All right, cruising back into the Q&A. Looks like there's some questions about international returns.
Yeah.
Chad, do you want to talk about returns and how they work for eBay International Shipping?
Yeah, I was cruising through the questions. A couple others too that I saw. There's one question on size of packages. So one question was on, hey, when will eBay International Shipping be able to accommodate boxes that are 24 by 18 by 18? So today we allow shipping of boxes or items that are up to 66 pounds or 66 dimensional pounds, and we can provide some additional information, or that information is on the website on how to calculate that and determine whether your boxes fit. But we ship up to 66 pounds to Canada, currently up to 44 to the rest of the world. We are actively exploring opportunities to be able to bring in these bigger size items. It represents a significant opportunity for both us and for you. We've actually been able to, we're in the final stages of being able to do this rollout. We just need to confirm the timeline. The big holdup was just making sure we have a carrier that can get those items for you from the US to a destination country. That's done. And so we'll provide some more information on the website once we're able to handle those bigger packages, but I anticipate it will happen soon. I just don't have a hard date quite yet. A couple other questions, and then I'll hit the returns one. One was, so I mentioned that buyers will be able to pick between either deferring the duties and taxes or paying them up front as part of our checkout experience. One thing that's really important to understand is when the buyer elects to defer the payment of those duties and taxes, that doesn't change your experience at all. What happens in that instance is if we ship the item forward to your buyer, they determine or decide they're not going to pay for the duties and taxes, they reject the shipment or they don't pick it up, that item will come back to us. We'll work with the buyer to deal with that situation, but you'll keep your sale regardless. So there's no implications for you of whether we're going to, whether that will result in you losing the sale or not. That's something that we're working with. Again, our promise is you get the item to us at our hub, and then we from there handle that transaction. You're done. That includes returns. In the return space, it's our promise is we offer 30-day returns worldwide. So we get the item to the buyer, and then they, as part of that process, they return their items to an eBay hub for inspection. At which point, we dispose of the item or we hand off to another party to take care of those items. However, from a return standpoint, you will not receive an international return. We work very diligently to, number one, make sure that the items that go out to our buyers get there timely. That's what they want. We work diligently to make sure that we have the best sellers in the program, and as a result, there's not risk for you as a seller or us for sellers to abuse the program. And then from there, we also make sure that the buyers are returning what they actually they're returning the right thing. And we when we identify challenges with those buyers, we also work those out with them directly. Really quick, there's been a couple of questions about fulfillment services for eBay. No plans at this time that we're ready to share. That doesn't mean that we won't do anything in the future, but there's no definitive plans at this point to do anything like a fulfilled by eBay or shipped by eBay.
Great, thank you, Chad. A few more ESE questions that I've seen in the chat. The first is around what are the supported categories for eBay standard envelope? We've heard this feedback after our latest expansion. A number of stickers or patches or decals could be listed across multiple categories. We've tried to cover all the categories that we saw stickers, patches, and decals listed in, but appreciate the community feedback on places that we've missed. Theo, I see you've called out one here on a listing. We'll make sure to get that over to our group and enable that category as well. And finally, we're working on publishing a list so that it's clear what categories do have support and which ones don't currently, so that we can just continue to get that great feedback from the community. That was one set. I think there is also questions around printing eBay standard envelope directly on to envelopes. You know, I've heard of a number of sellers that are doing this successfully today. I think there is some configuration with what printer you're using at home and how you load that printer and the envelopes directly into those printers. But yeah, happy, and there's no issues to print directly onto envelopes. Whether you need to set up the 4x6 format or the 8.5x11 format, I think play around with your printer settings there on eBay labels and the printer that you have at home and the supplies that you have. I know that some sellers are making direct printing on their envelopes happen. And Jane, yeah, we'll pop in for the categories that we've missed. We'll pop in the email that we want you to share that with. Alexis, maybe you can add, or Steph, you could add that email that we want category suggestions to be shared to. I think it's eBay shipping team at ebay.com, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that's it.
We'll put that in the chat as well. Let's see, I'm scanning through. Mark, I just see, does the envelope shipping label print landscape? You can adjust, as far as I understand, on the label printing pages, you can change the orientation and the size. And that's kind of where, like, your home printer of choice, the one that you're using, the envelope stock that you're using, and how you guide that into your printer, as well as the landscape or portrait orientation and the label size are probably those settings that you can play with to figure out how to print directly on envelopes. We're getting pretty close to time here. I hope the session was helpful for you all. Chad, do you have any last words that you want to share?
No, again, just thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for joining our session. A little healthy competition for us eBayers. It looked like we were really close to having the most attendees, Nate. So
hey, I love it.
We can brag that we won. Maybe we'll
Chad,
check after.
I love the one comment or question here at the end, which I think brings both of our programs together really well. Like, can you send ESE shipments to the EIS hub?
Definitively, yes.
Definitively, you can. We see a lot of that happening every day. It's great stuff. You're using two of eBay's great programs here, super cost effective for buyers. Yeah, do that and then some. And we'll keep expanding the categories of support so you can keep getting those categories into the EIS hub. I love all of that coming together. Thank you, everyone. You.
And I think we have a networking session right after this. So we'll continue to answer questions that have been unaddressed, but we're going to drop off the video. We'll see you in the networking session right after.